What's going on, YouTube? It's just JD. I'm back with another video. The NBA play-in has been very, very interesting, and it's gonna set up some teams, some for success and some for, we'll see what happens in their offseason. So let's get into it. Starting with the Eastern Conference play-in games. We had the Miami Heat going against the 76ers, where the 76ers took that game, won it by 1 point. We saw Nick Batum. He was the star of the show, coming in second half, really, putting his stamp on the game, hitting those shots from three. He was 6 for 10 from three. He had 20 points, and just a big game from him. We even saw a couple of defensive plays from him in that game. It was, not going to lie, it was an ugly game at first. The 76ers struggled offensively. They couldn't get a lot going because of that Miami Heat zone defense. But second half, they took over the game. They started their comeback, and really, the Heat offensively, they couldn't get it going. So it was really both defenses. Really, we saw Tyler Hero 9 for 27 from the field. Jimmy Butler, he had a knee injury, but he played through the whole game. 5 for 18 from the field. They struggled. And Bam, in his game, he was only 5 for 9 with 10 points. So you would want to get some more production out of Bam, especially if the other two, mainstays on offense were not really doing it for you. And so we saw, the 76ers, they come out with that game. Embiid, he was laboring, coming back off the injury. He still isn't 100% off from the injury, but he battled through it. He played his heart out the entire game, leaning over, holding his knees, throughout the game. But he was able to pull it out, and he led his team with 23 points. And so his game is important to the Sixers because it frees up everybody else. It frees up Maxey. It frees up Buddy Hield, Oubre, and Batum, of course, to get those open looks. And you can't just key in on one player. It makes the offense more free flowing. But I want to give this game to Nick Nurse. And this is why I believe the 76ers brought him in, because he's, in my opinion, he's one of the best coaches in the NBA. And we saw what he did in Toronto, especially, when Kawhi was there, them getting that championship. He knows how to win. He knows how to scheme. And I think the biggest thing that he does is that he adjusts. And we saw the adjustment in the second half from the Heat playing the zone. They had to get out of it. They couldn't play the zone anymore. Putting Joel at the top of the key, not allowing, the zone, what it's supposed to do is stop people from getting threes and keep the inside presence more closed in. So they did that. The Heat stopped that in the first half, bringing Joel to the top of the key. It helped them to get open better, and they were able to hit the threes, which you're supposed to avoid that as the defense. But Nick Nurse's adjustments really helped them and bring them back into the game, and it really changed the game. And so we saw them get that W. And so implications, of course, the Heat being the 8th seed in this case, they would play the next game, and they're actually playing right now as I'm recording this. And we'll talk about them later. But the 76ers is huge because they avoid potential matchup with the Celtics. and now they play the Knicks. And again, it's a better matchup overall for them because the strength of the Knicks is Jalen Brunson, of course, but the defense of their guard play with Anunoby, he's a wing, of course, but Josh Hart, DiVincenzo, these guys are tough-nosed, hard-nosed defensive players. Now, granted, you do have Mitchell Robinson and Isaiah Hartenstein, to shore up the front court for the Knicks, but I still don't believe that they'll be able to guard Joel. And so it sets up for a very intriguing matchup. And once the playoffs start, once those teams do play, and I believe they play on Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. So huge win for the 76ers. And we see the Heat have to play again tonight as I'm recording this game. And so we'll see how the 76ers play in their matchup in the first round against the Knicks. My playoff preview video will be out tomorrow as I'm recording this. I'm recording right now on Friday night. So on Saturday, we'll be dropping my playoff preview video for the entire playoffs, giving my predictions, who I'm going to be having in the finals, and so on and so forth. Turn on that notification bell so that you know when I'm posting all my videos, and like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Let's move on to the next play-in game for the Eastern Conference, which was the Chicago Bulls versus the Atlanta Hawks. We saw the Coby White show. He was a marvel. He played incredible. And I think the Bulls, they really took advantage of the Hawks' bad defense. They just don't have the personnel to really guard. They were missing Jalen Johnson. They were missing Double O, Onyeka Okongwu. And so, they're missing some key guys, and they don't have any bench production, unfortunately. And so, the Bulls ran away with it. They won 131-116. But again, shout out to Coby White, 42 points, career high, hit some huge shots, and he's the reason, why they're in the position that they're in. He's an MIP candidate. He's played well all season long, and so shout out to him. Huge shots, huge threes, and again, they just dominated in the paint. The Bulls, they were driving to the hole and getting layups and easy looks. He shot well from three as well, but the entire team shot well. 57% from the field and 42% from three. If you're gonna do that, you're more than likely gonna win. And so, I want to give a shout out to Dalen Terry as well. He was a plus 21 in 15 minutes. Not a lot of minutes. He only scored 4 points, but he was all over the court defensively. He had 2 blocks and was, really doing a good job on Trae Young when he was on him. And so shout out to Dalen Terry for sure. DeRozan had an efficient 22 points. But I want to talk about Atlanta for a little bit because this is what I meant when I was saying it's going to set up some things in the offseason for some teams, which is going to, the play-in is going to make or break your team. And so I think this team is on the breaking end, and I think they need to rebuild. I think they need to tear it down. It just has the Trae and DeJounte pairing just has not worked. It hasn't worked, and I thought personally that bringing in Quinn Snyder was going to help fix the team, help fix the defense, but it just hasn't worked. And I'm not sure if it's because of him or if it's because of the personnel. Now, Quinn, he hasn't been fired. They just lost a day or two ago, and so he hasn't been fired. So I don't know if they're gonna plan to keep him for the next team. I don't know what they're going to do, but they are one of the teams rumored to be making trades, and Trae Young is in a lot of those trades. DeJounte is in some of those trades, but I think they need to trade both of them. I don't believe, and I was saying this on Twitter. If you don't follow me on Twitter, follow me there at TSPJDN. The playoffs are starting. I'm going to be on Twitter, posting reactions and just a lot of things that I may mention in the video, or just thoughts that come to the top of my head as I'm watching the games. So that's going to be a fun interaction for you guys. And thanks to those who have followed me on Twitter. If you follow me on Twitter and you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, go over to YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button. We're on our road to 100 subscribers. So go ahead and do that for me. Thank you guys so much. But back on Atlanta, I don't believe that you're going to get the package that you need by trading either of those players to help the team. Do you want draft capital? Do you want, young players? Do you want players that can play right now, or, help the team win now? You're not going to get the package that you need by just trading one of those guys. I think you trade both and maybe get, some picks from one trade and then some players from the other. That way you can, continue to, it won't be like a rebuild. It would just be more like a retooling, so to speak. And again, you have Jalen Johnson, you have Onyeka Okongwu, you have young players who you can build around. I like Jalen Johnson a lot. He emerged this season as, one of the better players on the team, especially while Trae was out. He was really doing his thing. I like him. And, if you have a guy like that that's showing potential, then, that you don't want to trade him for sure. So, why not, build around him? Young player with potential. He's shown he can do a lot of good things. He reminds me of Paolo Banchero a little bit. And I don't know if that's a fair comparison. But just, the build, the style of play, I think they're similar, in that way. But again, we'll see what Atlanta does this offseason. I think they have a lot of important decisions to make. But it's going to be very interesting to see what they do, and to see if DeJounte and Trae can get to a team where they can, have some success and, get on a winning team and show that they are more than what they showed in Atlanta. So that's going to be very interesting. So moving on to the West, the Western Conference play-in games, we have the Kings against the Warriors. And the Kings really they dominated the game really from start to finish. I'm not sure if the Warriors ever led in this game, but 118-94, they really played an incredible game. I was of the belief that without Malik Monk and without Hurd, I thought the Kings were going to struggle, but they didn't, and it was really because of Keegan Murray and De'Aaron Fox. And I said that, I was like, if Keegan can get off and, really play well and score for them, then that's going to be very important for them in this game. And he did that. 32 points. He led the team in scoring. And De'Aaron was second with 25 points. But yeah, I mean, he really played well from start to finish, and they were really looking for him to score from the jump, from the beginning of the game, coming off those screens, top of the key, hitting those threes, and he really just played a great game. He played well defensively as well, guarding Steph Curry. So very important. And I think we saw his development from his rookie season to now, because last season in the playoffs against the Warriors, he struggled. He wasn't efficient, and he really struggled and didn't really make his mark on the series like you wanted him to. But we see his development this season, and he's playing a lot better, and he's going to be a crucial piece moving forward, especially, without Monk and without Herter. He's going to have to be that scoring for those two, and the three-point production, and he's going to have to replace that, because, Herter's not coming back, and Malik Monk he's going to be out for a while with his injury. So he was very impactful. But speaking of, most impactful, in my opinion, for this game, Keon Ellis, man. Keon Ellis, he played incredible. He literally did everything. I'm going to read his stat line. 15 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, 3 blocks, 3 turnovers, and 3 fouls. He was literally doing everything out there, and defending Steph Curry, defending Clay when he was on Clay. What's up with Alabama and these defensive players? We got Keon Ellis and Herb Jones. They're going to be facing off tonight. That's going to be an incredible game. But Alabama, shout out to them in producing, defensive players like that. But let's switch over to the Warriors side of things, because they're also a team like Atlanta that is going to have a very interesting offseason. Personally, I think the dynasty's over. I think it's over. We heard it from, the Warriors brass that they got to get under the tax. They got to get off of the aprons. And, they spent a lot of money as this dynasty, was together, and they should have done that, because when you have a player like Steph Curry, you need to surround him with talent. You need to surround him with winning players. And, those players are not going to be young players. They're not going to be, minimum contract players. And when you have a dynasty, you have older players, and the Warriors have done it through the draft. So, Clay and Dre, they're on their second and third contracts. So, those are expensive max contracts. So, missing the playoffs 3 out of the last 4 years, or 2 out of the last 4, it's time now. And, Klay Thompson, 0 for 10 from the field, from the court. Just impossible showing. And, I know that you could just see it in his face. He was not happy with his performance. Nobody was from the team. But I don't know if Clay is just a shell of himself at this point, or if he just had a bad game. We'll see what happens. I think they need to blow it up. I think you keep Curry, you keep AirPods, you keep Trace Jackson Davis, and maybe you keep Moody. Maybe not, but I think you just have to do something different. You gotta get a different situation. Are you gonna try to retool? What are you gonna do with Steph Curry? Is Steph Curry gonna want to stay? Is he gonna want to be on a retool team without the Splash Brothers and Draymond? Who knows? But it's going to be a very interesting situation this summer for the Warriors. But I will say this: the only thing positive that is coming from the Warriors being out is Steph Curry gets to rest up. It's April. He has May and June to rest up, because he's going to the Olympics for Team USA for his first time in the Olympics. And I said this on Twitter, I need him to be on another level. 22 points, mediocre shooting performances. No, I need him to be Steph Curry. I need him to shoot the lights out and put those other boys to sleep. We need that. You can't come out on your first, Olympic tour and you shooting 2 for 13 from 3. No, sir. Rest up, Steph. We need you. All right, that's enough of that. Moving on to the next game. The Lakers versus the Pelicans. And which is probably the most important game of the play-in my opinion, because this game had a lot of noise and talk surrounding it because, what were the Lakers going to do? And if you didn't see that video, I posted that video as well. Check out that one. But the Lakers, were they going to win and play the Nuggets, or were they going to lose the game, rest up to potentially play the Kings or the Warriors? In this case, it would have been the Kings, and try to get the 8th seed. And what did they do? They won. They came out, they played very well. They were up 18, but it slipped away because Zion was unstoppable. And I just want to, give a shout out to him because, in my other video talking about, the Lakers and being the 8th seed, I was going to flame him because his last performance last Sunday against the Lakers was absolutely ridiculous. It was terrible. I was going to flame him, but I didn't. I decided not to go that route. But other people did. Other media outlets did. The 3 and the 4-letter network, they did. And guess what? He heard. Now, Zion is my guy. He's from Duke, and for those of you who know me, I'm a big Duke fan. Me and Jeremiah. Shout out Jeremiah. But Zion, he came out, he had 40. This is the Zion that we all wanted to see from the very beginning since he came into the league 5 years ago. 40 points, getting downhill, just getting buckets any way he could, getting putbacks, getting rebounds, getting dunks, fast break. And we know he's athletic. We know he has mobility, and he can do so much. He doesn't have to shoot the 3 to score. He doesn't have to do that to be impactful like other people. But injury concerns, and we saw his injury, and just to talk about that for a little bit, it was a very, very weird injury. He went up for the shot and came down. He didn't well, of course, we know now that it's a hamstring injury, but he came down and he winced, but he wasn't. It didn't seem like he was hampered in any way other than just the wincing, and he jogged back to the locker room. It was just weird, and I gotta say, shout out to my dad. He called me. We talked about it, and he was saying, everybody was talking about the Lakers, should they lose to, avoid the Nuggets, and he was saying that maybe the Pelicans lost on purpose to avoid the Nuggets. And, he's out of the game tonight against the Kings. We'll see what happens with that game. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a little bit. But did they do that? Did they, lose on purpose just to avoid the Nuggets. I don't know. We'll see. But it's just unfortunate because he was having such a great game, and we haven't seen Zion in the playoffs. And we know what a dynamic player he can be, and a force he can be on the offensive and defensive side of the on the court. But we haven't seen it in the playoffs yet, and so it was just very unfortunate to see him go out like that. But from the Lakers' perspective, if Zion continued to play, I don't think they win that game. And if they don't win against the Pelicans, I don't believe that they beat the Kings. The Kings have been dominant against the Lakers, especially this last season, this past season. And I don't think they would have won that game against the Kings, and the Lakers would be out. Now, of course, we could have had a virtuoso performance from LeBron and AD, but the LeBron that played Tuesday against the Pelicans wouldn't have beaten the Kings. I'll tell you that for sure. They would have needed a lot more because the Kings, they play fast, and there's nobody that can guard De'Aaron, really. And AD struggles against Sabonis for whatever reason. But, the Lakers, they played well enough to win against the Pelicans on Tuesday. And D'Lo, again, he played well. Austin Reeves played well. Rui played well. And those guys are going to be the key against the Nuggets. Again, I'm talking about those series tomorrow before the playoffs actually start. So I'll get into all that for sure. But D'Lo was very important in that past game. We saw him, in the face with Alvarado. That was a fun exchange. But, defensively, he's going to have to play very well. And offensively, he's going to have to score. He had a terrible series last year in the conference finals against the Nuggets. And he really didn't play a whole lot. But this season has been different, and he's been different. He's been better. And so, he attributed that to the birth of his son. And so, I definitely understand that with, me having a son as well. So, but defensively, he's going to have to play a great series against Jamal Murray and, whoever he defends. So, shout out to D'Lo for sure. But yeah, the Lakers, they pulled it out in a close game, and they advanced to face the Nuggets in the first round tomorrow as I'm recording this. So let's get into tonight's games. Right now, it's halftime as I'm recording this. The Heat are up by 10 against the Bulls, and the Bulls have come back. They were down 20, at one point, and so they've, made it a 10-point game at the half. And also tonight, we have Pelicans versus the Kings. I talked about that a little bit. But again, no Zion tonight for the Pelicans. And so the question is, what Pelicans team are we going to get? CJ has been struggling the past two games, of course, against, for the last game against the Lakers, he struggled in the play-in game. So, is he going to play well? Is he going to show up? B.I., is he going to get to play? I haven't really liked the fact that Willie Green has been keeping him out of the lineup, especially late in games. He could have been a difference maker. Understand he just coming back from injury, but these are key moments, and you need key players to play. And, I feel like he played well. I just don't think he got in a rhythm because he wasn't really getting the minutes that he needed to. As far as the Kings go, I feel like they beat their rival. They beat their rival against the Warriors. And so it's going to be interesting to see how they come out of the gates against the Pelicans. Because, when you beat your rivals, you're feeling good, you're happy about that, lighting the beam, and they played well. You got to give them credit, but the next game against the Pelicans, are you gonna take them seriously without Zion? Are you gonna be complacent after a big win against the Warriors? It's gonna be interesting to see. I'm still gonna pick the Kings. I just think that with Keon Ellis, defensively, I think Keegan Murray also, and De'Aaron Fox, of course, just being the point guard that he is, and the catalyst for the team. Sabonis and his prowess, offensively and defensively, with triple doubles and double doubles. I just think they're gonna pull it out. I think they're gonna win the game. I think it's gonna be a good game though. Again, I think the Pelicans can do things offensively. They're just gonna need some help, especially from Bi and CJ. And watch out for Trey Murphy III. I think he's gonna be an important factor in this game without Zion, and I think he's gonna start. I think he's gonna get the start, and I think he's gonna have to play well if the Pelicans want to win the game. But I'm taking the Kings, and I think the Kings advance. From winning this game, and that they will play the OKC Thunder Sunday. But yeah, that's been the play-in. That was the play-in. And so let me know down in the comment section who you guys who you guys think is gonna win the games tonight. Pelicans versus Kings, and then the Heat. I've got the Heat. I think they're gonna win that one as well. But let me know what you thought of the play-in. Let me know what you think about the Warriors and the Hawks off season, what they should do. Very, two interesting teams, West Coast and East Coast. And yeah, just let me know down in the comment section. I'll definitely be down there talking with you guys. Been looking forward to these playoffs, and definitely going to be watching them. I'm going to try to watch every game, and it's going to be updates and videos and things like that. So y'all subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you see all of our content that we're posting. It's just JD, but y'all have a great night. Peace, y'all.